epic topic that you just said. You just triggered me right there. I was like, whoa, you pressed that button. Talking about like your relationship to you and how that like overflows into connection with other people, and especially a romantic partner.
Yeah, you want to repeat that, or should we keep on going?
Well, let's keep on going.
Real life situation. Sitting here
heck?
thinking about which topic we're gonna talk about, and then let's enter.
It's also because I've been thinking about this lately. I've been thinking about it. I've been sitting with myself and like, what practices have I been doing for me, and like in all areas of my life, not just one area, because it's what is my relationship to food? What is my relationship to my body? How do I treat it? Am I taking care of my muscles? Am I taking care of my teeth? Am I taking care of my my hair, my skin? Yeah, it's like when you start reflecting on all of that.
Yeah, feet's also really important. Stability. Oh my gosh, that's a topic.
Like you could tie this. You could tie anything into your spirit, into your breath, anything. And yeah, I've realized how I feel really comfortable. Having said that, I still have layers like the rest of us, right? To continue to reveal and learn more about myself. And I find that the more I connect to myself, the more I appreciate myself, the more I'm the less I'm judging myself. And let's say this. Let's say rather than, because the truth is we're always going to judge. We're artists.
We are humans.
Yeah, and we're artists. Like artists have this beautiful eye that will come and that's how we create, is through this beautiful judgment practice. But I've also discovered, not from reading anything, but just being into my inner self and connecting and realizing like I have this harsh critic within me. It's this voice that's pretty freaking harsh, this harsh judge. And then I have this compassionate judge. And this is something we talked about today. Like connecting to what is sympathy, empathy, and compassion. And what did I say about sympathy? It was just like this. I see that I can recognize I can recognize your feelings. That empathy is like, I feel you. And the compassion is literally sitting with them in the mud, in the muck, in the mire.
Suffering. And we're suffering right now, that we can suffer together for a little, that you get really compassion. Not that you want to have pity, you don't want to have anybody like...
No, we're talking about...
Have compassion. That's how we feel supported, right?
Yeah. And that's what, like, recognizing that practice with myself allows me to bring that outward, right? It's like I have this full cup that can... From the overpour, I can share and I can meet somebody else. And I could also let them be in their process as well. Because I think I've learned this so deeply with sitting with plant medicine and being in ceremony and being reminded by the beautiful preparation that we had. We were told we get to let everyone be in their process. Because don't worry, even though you want to be there for your sister in that moment, there are the guardians are there and they will assist, and then I get to fully focus in on my process. And that's allowed me to then, when it's my moment to hold space for somebody, I know exactly what supported me in a moment of being in deep process, and then I can come to that person in that same energy. Exactly. And so that's what I find, like all of these self practices, right? Like have helped me. Yep. But I do find that interesting that you say that. Like we're talking about the skin and the hair and the feet and my muscles and my bones and like, you know, exercising and like all these different practices are allowing me to connect more into who I am. And then I get to also learn like, oh, what part does that reveal? Oh, really cool. That's like my structure. Yeah, my bones. I'm taking care of them. I'm like tuning into what foods serve my body in this moment. And yeah. And then like connecting to the inner wisdom, that time of listening, that time of meditation.
Exactly, and to this intuition which is coming up, then the feeling. The intuition is always like this really tiny little voice. It's not that loud, but it will come up, and then when it's there, just go and follow it. And otherwise, when you go and sit down in meditation, you definitely can completely connect with the source and your body to listen to your body, your inner wisdom which is there, and the more you practice also that, the more you will hear it, these voices, and you can create your life around it.
Yeah, and I was thinking of like having this. Sometimes for me it's a voice. Sometimes it's an
feeling,
a claircognizance. I just receive like information in my head that I'm like, oh, that's a download or a transmission or whatever you want to call it, right? Like the voice of the Holy Spirit, like whatever you call it, is so beautiful because it just lands, and I know, or my first gut reaction to something has been spot on over and over again. I get to trust that. But these are, again, just practices you get to tune into to your body. Yeah. And then I feel like that, I'm saying all of this, bringing it back to the point of like, that's what I feel like has allowed me to connect in a beautiful way with others, and then really, really on another level with my intimate partner, that I'm like letting into that part of my being, and I get to share and feel comfortable sharing all to just
be
bearing it all.
So open. Yeah, exactly. Like we have open, cracked heart. Like we're not closed off at all.
And keeping literal practice again, keeping my heart open. That is not a lie. And I'm gonna explain what the hell do you mean, Lourdes? Like when I'm closed-hearted, I am guarding myself. I feel this, my whole body is like, it begins to clench, or my heart feels contracted, or I feel lots of tension here, right?
You want ego.
Yes, it's what it is. Ego's meant to protect. I get it. The beauty is I've learned that, and I understand this is practice, my ego's this beautiful guard dog, and I'm like, beautiful one.
This comes up sometimes.
It's okay. I'm like, you can bark, but you can
down.
stop barking. Like, I'm gonna open my heart. I'm not afraid of what I am inviting in. I am choosing to be open-hearted with this individual.
Exactly. That's a good point. Making a decision, really, it's so powerful.
I'm choosing to, and I've had to choose it over and over again, and especially, and I'm saying this from when I'm in the moment, when it is the most difficult. And at some point, I will go way further and deeper into the story, but when you're the most hurt by that other person, right? By the person that loves you so much, right? Your romantic partner, your mother, your father, right?
Lover.
Yeah, but especially lover here is what I'm like focusing on, is this romantic partner. I have literally chosen, like, I'm keeping my heart open to the point that I get to remember that I'm in surrender and I'm in open-handed mode where I do not possess this person. So if they want to be with me, they will be. They're going to show me they choose me, and I choose them. And I'm not embarrassed if they don't choose me. I'm not embarrassed because we are all connected. We're all from the same energy source. We're all from love. And so when I get to remember that and sit with it and realize I just get to keep my heart open, even when somebody does, right, slap the face, you realize, like, they're in their process, it's okay. And depending on how they react and respond to things, as I share how I received something,
exactly,
very
how
respectfully.
You were feeling, like, it's so important to always speak out, like, I feel, and not like you make me feel.
Right. I shared this, I'm able to go back and recognize that they can't hold space for me, and that's okay. And they're not an energetic match.
Yeah, and then going back to hold space for yourself. Maybe that you can hold space for you later, but not at that very moment, because they're too stressed out, overwhelmed, right now too much in the masculine or in their ego,
or in their head, in our heads.
Yeah, or they just really do not have the space right now to hold space for another person. And then it's actually also the best thing to just not interact with each other anyways, and to not respond, because otherwise you will just hurt each other, because then you react, or you get a bad reaction, and then you're gonna react also not in such a nice way. How you scream into a forest, it will come back to you.
And that's where I'm giving an example of where you are the person who stays open-hearted, and then there is no screaming and there is no reacting to anything. But I have also known that another way to open the heart is to allow myself to express exactly how I'm feeling, telling them, this is where I'm coming from, this is how I feel in this moment. You are not creating this. I'm just sharing with you that I am hurt, and so I'm crying. And I have found that when another soul is open-hearted, especially a masculine, someone more dipped into their masculine, a man, but even a woman deeper in her masculine, they will open up to you as well, because they see you don't have a guard up. You're not ready to fight.
Exactly.
And so they know, oh, whoa, like, then I'm not even coming to the game with the guns. Like, there's nothing to come with. It's a de-armoring process. And if in my experience as of late, the females and the people dipped more into the feminine energy of this day and age are the ones I see leading and paving that way to keep their hearts super open and open up and allow others to feel the same, to come in and be expressed.
Yes, and there's so many ways to practice that, and like also the heart opening, like even with touch and some self-love practices, but also the openness of open communication. And what else I wanted? Being vulnerable. It's actually in the end being open means just really being vulnerable. The more vulnerable you are with another person, when you're vulnerable, you're open. And the more you are vulnerable with another person, the other person will open up as well. It's like, here, we're both closed off in that way. And then when one person slowly opens up, the other can also open up. When you open up more, they also can open up more. And if they like, you are super open already, or you think you're already like that, and he's still like, okay, then you maybe have to go back a little, but still like trying to,
this is my observation. You could keep your heart open, and this other person's gonna meet you where they are. And if they're not able to open their heart, then that you understand in that moment.
Then it's not a
not
fit.
able to.
But if they are, then you're gonna match and exactly, align. How do they emerge?
Align. Merge together.
And you're one.
Yeah, but it's like another thing I remember. What is my relationship to my friends? How do I expect my friends to treat me? How do I don't even like that word. How do I allow my friends to treat me? Right?
Exactly.
How do I allow my friends to teach me? And that's how I connect to partners, is first like as a friend, because that's the richness that we're going to carry through the entire connection.
Exactly.
Is our
like with our own self, we should be first, be our own best friend, and be able to hold ourselves and take ourselves through all stages in life kind of as well, that you really can take care well about your own self. You can give yourself the love, you look about your health, you can hold space for yourself, you can see yourself. That's a huge thing, to really see yourself. As long as you're not seeing yourself, you can't see anybody else. And when you feel not seen or heard or understood or valued or what else is out there, appreciated and so on,
recognized,
understood, then go back to yourself, like, okay, now I'm gonna go and give it all to myself. Now I'm gonna go, okay, well, I'm not seeing myself yet. They are also just a mirror, and then you just go sit with that, not just for a minute, but sit with that for a little, and meditate on it, write it all down in a journal, and also do some embodiment practices, where you take a pillow and let it all out. It's so powerful, and you will feel so amazing and clear afterwards, and like, okay, now I can actually move on, and now I can move on, live my life again, go into my day, just having a normal day again. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. I just had this today, so I can
You're like, it's fresh.
It's fresh, so look at me, now I'm here and recording YouTube videos. And before I was up on the rooftop and like, okay, sitting in my pain and sitting in the triggers I got, and we're not feeling hurt especially. But then I was just turning it around, and I wanted somebody else kind of to hold space or give me the compassion, like, okay, actually, giving it now all to myself. And then I was filling up also in that way my cup, and I was feeling good, was feeling so good again. I could just let it go in peace. I could communicate in peace, which is such a key. So whenever you feel triggered out there, first breathe a few times, go to really do everything what helps you to calm down, but by your own, maybe as well, or you for sure friends, guides, teachers, spiritual teachers can also help a lot along the way to support you, and to also find a good way to communicate that too. And so communication again, communication is such a key thing, and being vulnerable.
And I want to share something that's been coming up recently. I've held space for and watched people in some of the most, what feels like bloodlines, feels like it's in their DNA. It feels like it's wrapped up in their core. Anger that is desiring and asking to be released. And it's I've watched myself be able to release in very beautiful, literal ways that leave the body. It leaves the nervous system as to where before it was in there, stored up. It's the library that keeps account of what's going on. And it can actually, they say forgive and forget, and it's like the beauty of the forgive and the forget happens inside your body's nervous system. That's what change and shifts your DNA. That's what's like, it's vibrating and shifting and changing information inside of the core of your body. That's an observation I have.
Exactly. And I would say, like, especially when you can forgive, you also will not feel rejected anymore. So I do not get the feeling actually at all that I feel rejected by someone, even like my family, friends, or a guy. That's completely gone. It was a huge topic still like 2 years ago or something, and now that's gone. We made completely peace with that, and because I also gained a lot of more wisdom, experiences, and practices, and another thing. So it's so important to do the inner work. Do it with yourself. Go and meet yourself first. Really, that's actually the biggest gift. You also said so the other day, right? That's the biggest gift what we can give to ourselves, to go and do the inner work.
Work, play.
Yeah, and it all starts with ourselves first, before we can go and do it together with our partner, with our friends, and so on.
It's interesting, especially if you're looking at your own life and you're like, what the hell? I was doing great with partners before. I never had problems like to the level I am now, to what's being mirrored to me now. Exactly. We ladies were talking about this earlier, and it's I remember, I didn't have men running away. I didn't have men, and then I realized I leveled to a point. I expanded to a point that men were like, oh, I don't know that I can, like, vibrationally, they could not be on that frequency. And it was perfect. It wasn't rejection. It was redirection. It was like freaking perfect. And I've been able to like witness that process. And also I recognized they were in their process, but I was wondering, I was like, wow, like, what is going on? Because like we didn't have these issues didn't come up before. I was like, what is even happening? But it was just that expansion happening, and that next level of relationship is being asked of me. And I say leadership, and I say that because every relationship requires leadership as well as that follow. We get to lead and we get to follow in any and every connection. My connection to Jasmine, there are moments that she leads, and there are moments I lead. There are moments I follow. There are moments, and it's beautiful. It's a dance.
Yeah,
it's them
beautiful
scales.
Dance and yin and yang.
Yeah.
Good balance.
Yeah, so that's another aspect.
Yeah. Something else popped up for me, but now it's gone.
It'll come. It will come.
Oh yeah, frequency. Because of the frequency person, I also do believe we will always have people in our life who are on our frequency, but we also will feel it when there are people in our life who are not in our frequency anymore, and then it's like the magnets, well, it's not like matching, it's like this happens, and then
I was going to give an example of another crazy stuff that happens. I've observed in my life, somebody who I thought came in complete peace and like came from the same frequency would bring me a thing, a food thing or a drink thing or something. They would offer me something, and that something would fall. I would lose it all. It would like break. And I was like, whoa, every single time it's been a like, pay attention to this, because this person has different intentions. I feel like protection is built in for me. I actually believe that's true of humanity, but the moment we see it, and it keeps being reflected to me like, oh, what's on your frequency? You're gonna feel it. And if you're missing it, we'll let you know. We'll show you with some like super strange things that are like, how did that happen?
Yes, exactly. And the other thing, what you also said before, because of the frequency thing, like this can happen, or like for sure rejection is a redirection for sure. I also strongly believe in that. That's why I also do not feel rejected anymore. So there are many points why it just is like that now. I'm so happy about that. And that I also can like what is the word actually in English, like what I do with my family, you know, I do have my boundaries. I can like,
you can speak to them.
Yeah, but at the same time,
separate?
exactly, I can keep the distance in a good, healthy way as well. I not go in there again, because I know our frequencies are not fully aligned all the time, and also the things can change. Like I experienced that with my family, with close friends, like friends who were also my best friends, my soulmates as well, and the same with guys as well, with soul partners. Sometimes this happens already maybe at the beginning, especially when we're kids still with our siblings or sisters or brothers. It's not so much, and sometimes we match again, and this happens on and on and on in life. And the same like with friends. So we were matching before, and then we're like, and then we're matching again. So they all can still come back. So some things are not forever. That's true. That's just how life is. Life is change. Life is sadly not consistent, but we should be consistent with ourselves, with others.
The consistent is the ever changing. It is the universe is constantly looking to return to homeostasis. So change is the constant of the universe. This is what we know about math too.
Exactly, and like sometimes it can be such like a spiritual trap as well. Like with stability, what I experienced, like I was craving so much stability and consistency in my life, and because I wanted it too badly, everything was always like falling out, and like it was unstable, inconsistent, like in any ways, like with relationships, to guys, to friends, to business thing, apartment wise, it was just all unstable, even though I was looking for something else, and I was trying so hard to make it work, and I was also communicating it. I was just like, and I was just staying consistent with me. I wanted, so I stay, and that's what I do until today. And I still stay with it, because I know it will come when it's there at the time. But at the same time, I learned now to also relax into the
rest into the knowing,
rest into the unknown, and to relax into the instability. And
I have never seen anybody so beautifully be able to surrender in the water, be like surrender to the unknown. Like she just said, she could be on the ocean, be floating in the salt water with so much, like actually I've seen two women in my life. I was just thinking about it, and the interesting thing is I've seen both of them on the Canary Islands in Tenerife. It's been interesting, but it's really beautiful watching Jasmine practice this, because then it gets to overflow into other areas of her life, and like the more she reflects inward and creates that stability within, the stability gets reflected without. It's the inside game, like what Preston says, my friend that I love so much, is always like, it's an inside game, and then it gets reflected outward, and it's so deeply beautiful. I just
Thank you for mentioning that. So there are many practices for everything: to open up your heart, to go on dates with yourself, to connect with nature, to surrender, and to make it all a bit easier, better. Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing.
I'm honored.
Nice insights, I guess, for everybody. So yeah, feel free to write us, comment, like this video, and yeah, follow us here on YouTube and also on Instagram for sure, and we are always here for you. So yeah, enjoy, feel free to share, and I'm gonna see you in the next video.